I think that job could be very stressful as a result of sitting in there for maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, watching what goes on. I was impressed with that. Otherwise, and we went upstairs with the maintenance person and looked at the area upstairs. We went to the kitchen area. Everything was very satisfactory. And that's the report that I would submit to Attorney General's office.
Okay.
And I'll send you a copy.
Okay.
Okay?
I know I attended briefing Tuesday morning, and I know the staff were appreciative of you being there, having that interaction with you, and just you showing the attention that you showed as far as walking around and talking with the staff. Multiple staff members commented that they were thankful to actually finally meet the commissioners. So
good.
I appreciate it.
Very good. Anything else you want to comment on regarding? As chairman of the subcommittee, you have a point of order, Mr. Babson?
Well, not a point of order, but as chairman of the subcommittee, I discussed this with Jason, and I think he agreed with me. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jason, but to come in now and record how many times people have been arrested or pulled back in, the idea originally was to find out what the percentage was, and we've now been doing it 3 years. It's time consuming, and now we've gathered the information. Perhaps it's time to stop.
I addressed that question exactly to him. I don't know if it was in this meeting last week.
Last week.
He said it didn't take that much time and was going to continue to do it. I suggested maybe on a monthly basis he might do it, because I agree, it takes some time to do it, but he claims that it wasn't a lot of time taken out of his
Well, I guess I would have to say, Mr. Chairman, even if it takes a little teeny bit of time, what do we do with the figures once we've heard it? I mean, what we wanted to do was to find out how often they came back, and
Yeah.
after 3 years, I think we have a pretty good idea. It's
We have
60% or so. The information just goes into the minutes and that's it, nobody ever looks at it again, and I think it's a
It goes
waste of
on
time.
the film that everybody sees throughout the county.
Well, that's true, I hadn't thought of that.
So there's an indication there that, other people are becoming more aware of the recidivism rate of, we talked about 42, was it 42%?
For the last few years.
For the last few years, it's 42% returns. I would hope that at some point in time, the delegation, and I saw a program on PBS the other day of a county jail in Texas, where they've reduced the recidivism rate down to like 10%.
How do they do that, by not taking anybody in?
No, but I guess it all came about with a judge and a Republican House of Representative and a Democrat senator that got together and said, we need to do something about this because our jails are being filled up. And as a result of that, they came up with programs. And what I'd like to do as president of the New Hampshire Association of Counties is get somebody from Texas to come here and fill everybody in on how they did it. I think we should be able to afford to pay somebody to help us understand what they did to reduce that.
Do you have any idea what they did?
No, I don't. All I know is that a judge got involved in it, and he had, what do I want to say, not seminars, but workshops with the inmates. He gave them more ideas and challenges to encourage them not to come back. And they had a graduation where he shook each of their hands, the ones that graduated. I don't know what the criteria was for graduating, but it was interesting to see the reaction between the inmates and the judge. It was a very positive type activity. Yes.
Well, if anybody ever had the time to go down to Rockingham County and see their program, which involves the judge and a social worker, and they've cut their rate back somewhat with people that were on drugs.
Yep.
And it's an amazing program, and it hasn't cost the county a lot of money.
I believe that at the last delegation meeting, and even the prior one before that, that former Representative Susan Wiley has been speaking on this issue to the delegation about doing something in the jail to bring in programs that would alleviate some of this recidivism that we see happening year after year after year.
Commissioners, just to bring it up again, was it the 17th of April, we have our Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee meeting, that first meeting that we're gonna start addressing some of these issues hopefully. And then on the 20th, on that Friday, the Supreme Court is hosting a conference on drug court, which I think.
Drug court is what we call it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Did I ask you about that? Thought I did, about Friday the 20th. Representative, did I ask you?
1
about that as
p.m.?
well?
No.
No, Friday the 20th, April 20th.
At 1 p.m., I got jail in Concord.
Yes, that's the Supreme Court drug court presentation. It's hosted by Justice Needle.
Yeah, where is that?
It's at the Administrative Office of the Courts building in Concord.
At 1 o'clock, did you say?
1 o'clock, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Babson, you know where that's located? You being down Concord all this time?
Fortunately, I haven't had any need to go into court, so I can't tell you where.
shucks.
It's down opposite of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh,
right
that's
on-
on
Oh, Hazen Drive.
Yeah.
Oh, on Hazen Drive?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think if you go towards the Heights, it's on the left, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
It's on the right?
You turn in, but the office is on the left once you've turned in,
Okay.
off of Hazen Drive.
Yep.
Okay. The 17th, 1 p.m., what was,
That was the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council meeting.
and where's that going to be?
I was hoping to hold it at the jail, but if there might be too many people, we should probably hold it here.
Okay.
Point of order.
Yes,
Is that
yeah.
17th meeting, is that open to the public or is that closed door?
I don't know. Let me work on that and I'll let you know.
Okay, we'd be interested.
Do you have a time?
I think it's at
1 p.m.
That is April 17th, it's 1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
What is April 20?
The time?
That's the drug
is-
court.
Is 1 o'clock
1
again.
p.m. Yes, sir.
I just have a question.
State your name, please.
My name is Bill Elliott,
Okay.
and I live in Freedom. Just a question, in today's Conway Daily Sun, they're talking about the jail, and you mentioned Patandi Construction.
Right.
And they said that they have done their work, but the tipping wall, because of the problems, are structural. Is that being addressed, the structural problem?
It was addressed when the engineer looked at it, and he's coming back to look at it again.
Is that Bergeron you mentioned?
That's Bergeron, yep. Yep. Okay, anything else you got? You all set? Are you all set? You have any further questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Robin? Jason, before you leave, we got a letter from Patrick Belong?
Okay.
Says, we repaired the problems. The ceiling metal problem was the building retracted and the metal was too long. The rubber base problem, we repaired, but the damage was done after we were finished. Looked like intentional damage to me, is what he says.
Okay.
Now, that was in the locker room, the men's locker room,
Correct.
your office, and the captain's office. I don't know where the intentional damage that he talks about, where that was located, but,
What he was saying is that the material that was used to fill that
oh, that,
crevice,
yep,
what it was, I didn't know what type of material it was, and I checked it,
Yep.
and when I just put my finger on it, it crumbled.
Yep,
So, and that's where,
that's the weight that he put in.
what's that?
That's what he put in, right?
Correct.
Yep, because it hadn't hardened sufficiently?
Correct.
Okay. And as for the scratches, I have not been shown them or received an estimate. If I can be of any further assistance, call. Okay? That's his letter.
Outside Commissioner?
Okay, thank you. Morning, Robin.
I just wanted to introduce Debbie Newland. She's my new HR generalist. And I
Okay.
just wanted to
She
introduce
replaces
Stephanie.
Stephanie Milbury. Okay.
So I just wanted to introduce her.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. The Mountain View contract, the union contract.
Yes.
Was approved by both the commission and the delegation,
Yes.
correct? I received Monday some changes from the union. I think they're just superficial. I haven't had a chance to look at them.
Yeah.
But I'll go through them. I may have to contact the lawyer on a couple of them
To see if,
to see if we can actually make the
Change 'em.
change without opening up negotiations again.
is it changing the intent of the,
It's not really, there's some things, we did an addendum last year that never got added back in.
yeah?
So that needs to be added into the contract. There's a couple of questions I...
It doesn't change any financial figures.
Absolutely not. no.
Okay.
One of them is the recognition of positions, though, and I think that's...
Recognition of,
Positions. There are certain positions over there that they don't have anymore.
okay.
However, they're in the contract. They could be, I think that's something that needs to be negotiated. I think we had that discussion.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be changed.
Well, they want them
Right.
removed. So I'm just going to go through the contract and see, highlight anything. I'll
Yeah.
send you a copy of that so you can
All right.
review that. But I just wanted to make sure, because we'll need to get this out and get it signed.
Yep,
Okay. That's pretty much all.
that's all you got?
That's all I have for today.
Okay.
Unless you have
Yeah, I'd
any-
like to see those changes that they're suggesting.
Well, I can give you the email.
Okay.
Share that. Like I said, I need to go through the contract and...
Do we have a title, do we have a position for the bus driver? Or is it somebody that
Lisa, bus-
works there in recreation department?
Yeah, he does both, recreation aide / bus driver. That I don't think I would be able to remove because that's part of his, I believe, his job description. I have to look at that.
I did talk with the union rep, Deanna Chafee, on Monday morning, somewhere around noontime, just before noontime. Interesting conversation with her. I said to her that I was glad that the union had signed the contract. And I said, next year, I think you need to look at lunches, as that will be an item of discussion for the union as to whether we continue to provide lunches for the union members. I forget what else we talked about, but I said, we need to get going on these episodes. That the contract calls for a committee to
Correct.
look at that.
We're going to pull that together in the next
You got a
week or
time
two.
frame for that?
Well, April 1st, because the contract was done in April 1st, was this
Yep.
past week.
Okay.
I'll send out an email to see who they want
Yeah,
for their representation on the committee.
okay.
I know some of them have expressed interest, so
Okay. There's definitely a problem with those episodes. But that said, we're having problems on weekends. I forget now if it's last weekend or this weekend coming up. I think it was last
It
weekend.
was last weekend.
There were like 4 call-outs at the last minute. And we can't afford to have call-outs at the last minute because you can't find anybody to fill those positions. They called 18 different people to see if they would work another shift or to fill in, and none of them would. I mean, when you have a nice weekend, nobody wants to come in to work. And the director of nursing doesn't feel that we should, at least her opinion was, that we shouldn't provide an incentive when they're already being paid to work. So why should we provide incentive? Their obligation or their commitment is to work. That's what they signed up for. So that has still got to be worked out.
And this weekend.
Fridays and Mondays on a good weekend, they want a 4-day weekend. And they have to wait till, what if they work 2 weekends a month, right?
You didn't give her any information about the incentive? Did you make any
No.
arrangement? Okay.
No. But I think ought to be some support given regarding anybody that's terminated because of no call shows. In other words, they didn't call in, they didn't show up. If they get 2 of those, then they're terminated. I think somehow or other we need to relax that or give them 2 months suspension and let them apply for that position again. Some alternatives like that.
I said 3 months.
Okay. 2 or 3 months to do that. I don't know how you hold a position open, or maybe it's the next position, but when we have good people that forget, I mean nobody's perfect, and this last one that we terminated, fortunately, the first no-show was not her fault, and so she was reinstated. But when we have excellent people working there, it's too bad that we have to terminate it. We need to come up with some other alternative. Yes, it's easy to call, and I think the schedule now, the scheduling has changed a little bit. They have to check off, or they get a slip saying they signed up for an extra shift. So maybe that will help work out. But it's time that we ended that problem of scheduling. That's been a problem for a number of years, and we just can't seem to get it worked out. But hopefully we'll come up with some different solution. You got anything else?
I just have a question on the status of the employee grievance that was submitted back in December and where that's at.
We have to have a meeting with the attorney, and I would ask, well, I won't right here, but we have to have an agreement as to when we're going to meet with the attorney. We're having problems scheduling that because of other conflicts. Let me put it that way. We're working on it. We'll let you know.
Okay.
You said a grievance was submitted in December?
The report, the study has been done. Each of the commissioners have received a copy of the investigation. And now it's a timing element as to when the 3 commissioners and the attorney can get together.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You said a grievance was filed in December?
Yeah. Well, I don't know when it was filed, but
So I don't know what grievance she's talking about. She says something about December. And I know you had a grievance, what you make public was January. So when was it filed now?
I'd
You're
have
talking
to
about the same
look at it.
grievance?
I think so. I'll have to look at the
I'll
agreements.
look at the date. I thought it was the end of December.
anyway, that report has been finished. It's just a case of sitting down and talking about it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Anything else from?
Yes, I want to
Yeah.
say something. There
Yeah.
was a question a couple months ago when we were talking about a grievance that was brought up if Attorney Swatch had ties to the county.
Had
And
what?
you have ties to the county, and you said no. He just had a lawsuit. That was your answer.
Yeah,
Attorney Swatch, if he has ties to the county, your answer was no.
no, I
He
said,
just did a lawsuit.
yeah,
Is
I
that
said,
still
no,
your
he's
answer?
handled other lawsuits. I did say that.
How many lawsuits? Because it was brought up a while ago. And you said,
I know of one. I know of two. One was had to go to, what do I want to say, arbitration. The other one was a report to the commissioners, and that was a supervisor, and the commissioners handled that one. And I forget what the cause was for it, but I know there were two.
I talked to Attorney Swatch, and he told me he was the attorney of the county. Then
No.
they dropped him, and then they went with Liz Bailey. So his-
Nobody's attorney of the county.
he
If
was.
it's a special case where we go through Primex because it's an issue with Primex, Primex then
I understand
hires
that.
an attorney.
Who is Liz
and
Bailey then?
They hired Schwartz to do a couple of the investigations,
Who is
representing Primex.
Yeah, who's Liz Bailey then? So she has nothing to do with the county. So we don't
We
have to talk
hired-
to her.
We have hired her on a couple of cases, and I
So-
don't recall which ones they were.
Can
Do
I-
you?
So she's not an advisor, she's nothing to do with the county, actually.
She is not
Well, she,
on the payroll.
Primex handles, like, if you have employment issues that are related to non-union employees, so Primex handles those issues. If it has to do with an arbitration and union contracted employees, Primex does not handle that arbitration piece, and that's where we have utilized Liz Bailey.
Okay, any further questions?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good day.
What?
Okay, let's look at the minutes.
Is this what you want? Oh, okay. Minutes. Starting with the non-public minutes.
You want to announce this one? Is that what it, is that? what
There's
it
a
is?
non-public minute. March
We haven't
28th,
approved it.
no, 2012.
You need to have,
And
you need to have that page on
This,
here.
this here page has got to be on this one.
Yeah, I'm attaching
Because
it. I
that can
don't
be
have
used
it now.
anytime.
Let me see. I already have that.
I'm looking at, you've added, somebody's added something to that one.
To what?
Whenever we add something to it, let's make sure that you initial it.
Yeah, she just put something. Moved.
Well, somebody needs to initial it. If there's a correction to the minutes.
Yeah. I can retype it and put it in.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be retyped, but it ought to be initialed that
Yeah.
if it's approved, who changed the minutes.
Listen, she made the change and then after that we approve it. So what initials want you put? Everyone signs for the change.
I'd like to see who made that change, initial right there.
And she has to put the initial. It is not a change, it is just a different wording. Nothing
Okay.
is changed. So the non-public minutes from March 28, 2012. I make a motion to approve it and keep it sealed.
That's this one. right? Did you get a copy of those minutes?
I just gave it to you.
This is March 21.
Yeah, the other
It's
one.
medications.
You want her the initial.
This is March 28. Did you
Yeah,
s- You
that's it.
approved March what?
March 28.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said 12. Okay, I'd second it.
So she initial that?
You guys passing votes?
Yeah.
This is like grand, isn't it?
So all in favor, a roll call vote, we don't need a roll call vote.
Way over.
All those support the motion, say aye. Aye.
Okay, now we're going to the public minutes.
Did we do two?
Where I got
We just
those.
took a vote on
No,
one.
there's one that was already approved, we just had to sign it.
Let's see what I got.
Which one we gotta look at?
Oh, I just see a flyer here. I think information.
Oh, that was a request
That is a
by
request
somebody.
for
Yep,
all kinds of questions on here, like
Yep.
5
and we'll
questions.
supply those.
This was handed to me this morning from Lauren, February
Yeah,
22nd.
yeah. But let's do the March, let's go to
March.
March, yeah. Okay, the March 14. I think we already make last week a couple of corrections.
Could we just wait a second while I find it?
I,
Could you wait a second so I can find it? I don't have March 14th here.
okay. I reviewed the tape from March 14, and I saw there was a motion missing. So I want to put a motion in the March 14 minutes. It was about Bob Murray. He was asking for power strips for bedside alarm. He wanted to upgrade it to a hospital grade for 16 residents, and he wanted to have, the motion was 20 power strips for bedside alarms, $94 each for the amount of $1,880. The motion was made by Commissioner Solomon, seconded by Commissioner Kenny, and all in favor.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And I went back and I just wanna ask you something. If we're doing motions, if you can just put it in front, because we need to read it. Like you put a motion in and we have to read it. If you can start first with it, like motion, and then who make the motion. Because here
Okay,
you
so you
said
don't
like
want
Commissioner Kenny
Commissioner's name
motion.
and then motion.
Yeah, you said a motion and then you said Commissioner Kenny make a motion to approve. And the motion was made March 14. You just said public minutes, but a motion what I make were the non-public minutes.
Okay.
So you have to put non-public there of February 15.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to give you now all the corrections what we write down and make and go with you so you can make
Okay,
it.
so is that how we
don't
want to
have
start it? Motion first, and then who makes it? Or it's going to be the commissioner's name, and then who makes it?
Motion and then Commissioner Kenny.
Okay.
So we can
So
very
we have
quickly see
immediately,
it.
if we read it, that we
Okay.
see there is a motion been made. And, well, we were